It's your boy, J Willie Silly, man, aka Mr. Take It Easy. Before you end up like BZ. But make sure y'all follow my Twitch, man. Subscribe to my second channel. Everything you need to know about your boy Jay. It's in the description down below. You know what I'm saying? But we got the Tijuana cartel versus the Sinaloa cartel. Open war. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie. This is a very dangerous cartel. If y'all do not know, Sinaloa cartel is still running today. You know, but one thing I try to do for all my new subscribers and new viewers before I get into what I was finna get to, make sure y'all go, like I said, playlist section. We got the game and the cartel reaction. I haven't done a cartel reaction in a long time. Matter of fact, I just did one when El Mencho died. That right there surprised me. You know, we all knew El Mencho wasn't dead, but him being this big drug lord, you know what I'm saying? And it just kind of surprised me, you know what I'm saying? That dang, El Mencho didn't die. But the freaking CJNG gonna continue. You know, somebody else is gonna step up. Evil never gonna go away. You know what I mean? But I do videos like this, y'all, because I really care about diversity. I really care about being different. I care about being unique. See, one thing about reactors that I peep, like I said, I don't watch nobody but me. I'm gonna keep it real with you. You know what I mean? Honestly, if I'm not watching me, I'm watching boxing, watching about sports. You know what I'm saying? I don't watch YouTubers. You know what I mean? But when I was, you know what I mean, tuning in to them, and one thing I realized about them is that all of them react to the same junk. And that's what made me like so great on my old channel. You know what I'm saying? Uniqueness, differentness is what you have to, you know what I'm saying, acquire. You have to be different. You have to be unique. So for all the reactors, you know what I'm saying, that we have upcoming reactors, trying to be upcoming reactor thing's different, bro. You gotta like go deep and deep and deep. You know what I mean? I give some wisdom what I do. You know what I'm saying? I freaking just freaking search up channels, you know what I mean? And shoot, I look at a couple of videos, you know what I'm saying? Thumbnails really attract me. Look at a couple of videos and I can just tell by the beginning of it, it's gonna be good. You know what I'm saying? Honestly. So that's what I do, you feel me? I just subscribe to a lot of channels just to react to them. You know what I mean? But different, being unique is key, man. Stop reacting to everything that everybody react to, bro. Because it's like, what makes you different? It's like, okay, I'm watching you and I already seen this. Well, okay, like now I can click on your video, you know what I'm saying? I never seen you and I never seen your video. So it makes you more intriguing, you know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people be copying my videos, man.
My father is Ismail Zambada.
But it's what it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be like, you know what I'm saying? I'll never get offended when I see people doing what I do. You know what I'm saying? I just, you know, I'm like, okay, I'm starting a little trend out here. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, you feel me? So I'll never, you know, I'll be happy about that.
El Mayo is his most commonly used nickname. My father is the leader of the Sinaloa cartel. Because of power, money, and corruption, there is unfortunately jealousy from others, people who envy you, and problems begin to arise. That's how wars start.
One of these wars will break out between the Sinaloa and Tijuana cartels, costing thousands of lives over several decades, even though just a few years earlier, their leaders were still sitting at the same table. 1992, the confrontation becomes inevitable. The Arellano Felix family, firmly established in Tijuana, quickly consolidates its control over the strategic corridors leading to California. It gradually brings the entire city under its influence to monopolize what is known as a plaza.
Plazas are areas or territories through which drugs are trafficked into the United States. And there, the authorities and police serve the boss in charge.
Anyone who transports drugs through their territory without authorization risks ending up in a body bag. To maintain control of this extremely lucrative area, the Arellano Felix brothers invest heavily in corruption, up to $1 million per week, to buy protection from government and police authorities at every level. Surprisingly, El Chapo, one of the main leaders of Sinaloa, openly defies the Arellano Felix brothers. He rejects their tax, which he considers unfair, and actively seeks ways to bypass their control.
Ruthless, El Chapo entered Tijuana without permission from the plaza's owners to move drugs into California, and that's how his war with the Arellano Felix cartel began.
Despite his tactical intelligence, El Chapo could never have faced an organization as powerful as the Tijuana cartel alone, even with the help of his ally, Hector Palma. In this deadlock, an unexpected ally emerged for El Chapo. From the shadows of the Mexican underworld, Ismael Zambada Garcia, nicknamed El Mayo, made the crucial decision to support him. The story takes a fascinating turn here, because El Mayo had previously maintained close relationships with the Arellano brothers. For years, he had lived in Tijuana and worked closely with them. Their ties went beyond mere business. The eldest Arellano brother was even the godfather to some of Mayo's children, a testament to a deeply personal relationship. Yet, despite these sacred bonds, the Arellanos, blinded by their arrogance, also demanded that El Mayo pay them a tax. Although he could have negotiated an arrangement, his sharp instincts made him recognize the danger posed by these ambitious brothers. Their desire to expand their influence beyond Tijuana represented a threat that had to be neutralized before it spiraled out of control.
Crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? Freaking crazy.
Sinaloa, the birthplace of Mexican organized crime, sees the rise of one of the most notorious kingpins, Ismael El Mayo Zambada Garcia.
El Mayo just got caught, bro. Like, literally, El Mayo just got caught. If y'all don't know El Mayo, bro, that's the real leader of the Sinaloa cartel, word on the street. You know what I'm saying? You had freaking El Chapo. El Chapo was one of the bosses. And look, this is another thing, bro. I don't know why some of these cartel people, like I don't know why some people be thinking like, okay, you get in the cartel, man, and you know, I'm officially just start making money. You know, there's a way that appears to be right, but at the end, it ends in death. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, bro, it's just like any other job. You know what I mean? Like you're not finna just jump into the cartel and just start making a lot of money. You know what I mean? It's just like how you go to work. You have to work, and promotion. When you ever see a promotion? You know what I'm saying? When you think El Mayo started off being El Mayo? Heck no. You think El Chapo started off being El Chapo? Heck no. They had to work the ranks. You're gonna have to drop some bodies. There's no such thing as being a good person in a cartel. There's no such thing. You're gonna have to kill. You're gonna have to drop some bodies. You have to keep on being consistent. Then you start hitting the ranks. And eventually, if you survive that long, most don't. You'll be sitting at the table with El Mayo and El Chapo. You know what I mean? And the brothers and whatnot. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I don't know why people, that's just a very misunderstood thing when it comes to cartels, that, oh, I automatically join the cartel, I'm gonna be rich. That's not, join that cartel you want to. Better sit your butt down somewhere talking about you gonna join the cartel you want to, man. Better have some dang integrity. But you join with some killers, you joining with murderers. They don't give a dang about you. Do something wrong. Let a drug deal go wrong. Let money come up missing. Oh, you finna die tonight. Ain't no such thing as love when it comes to a cartel. S.A.
Yeah. Born in a small village of 200 people in the Culiacan region,
I know I ain't joining no
he is
cartel.
sent to the main city for his primary education, as his parents want to give him a better future.
They ain't about no money, bro.
El Mayo's childhood, though marked by
Word
a
up.
warm family atmosphere, takes a tragic turn at age 12 with the death of his father. Forced to leave secondary school, he must help support his family. In the Golden Triangle, a mountainous region where opium poppies, the source of heroin, have been cultivated for generations, his uncle and other family members were already involved in these activities. But when he returned to the village, Mayo still limited himself to legal farm work to make ends meet. After doing various odd jobs, he settled in El Dorado, a booming town thanks to the sugar industry. He starts as a simple tire washer for trucks transporting sugar and later becomes a driver. Yet these modest earnings are not enough, and that's when his life takes a radical turn. In the early 1970s, a Cuban named Antonio Cruz Vasquez, a seasoned criminal who has spent time in the United States, arrives in Sinaloa looking for suppliers. Their relationship quickly goes beyond business. Antonio marries Mayo's older sister, forging an unbreakable family and criminal bond. From then on, the Zambada family becomes heroin suppliers for Vasquez's network, while the young Mayo, barely 20, begins carrying out missions for his brother-in-law, whom he sees as a mentor. After establishing the strategic partnership, Vasquez returns to Los Angeles to continue his operations. In Sinaloa, the drugs are meticulously packaged and shipped in suitcases via various flights or hidden in truck tires en route to the United States. They are then distributed in Los Angeles and Las Vegas through Vasquez's highly organized network. This is how El Mayo, barely 20, enters large-scale trafficking. His success is such that in 1977, Mayo decides to take the next step and move to Los Angeles. He brings with him his first wife, Rosario, his teenage sweetheart from Sinaloa, whom he considers his gem despite the many companions who will follow. With her, he has Vicente, nicknamed Vicentillo, his favorite son, destined to one day inherit his father's empire. Vicentillo is just one among the long list of children El Mayo has. He certainly doesn't slow down in that department. El Mayo settles in Los Angeles with his family. But barely a year later, things become complicated for Vasquez, who makes no secret of his flashy lifestyle, squandering fortunes in casinos. He is eventually arrested by the police, compromising part of their network. That's when the Zambada name appears in newspapers. Articles reveal that the drugs come from the Vasquez-Zambada family business. This unwanted publicity highlights their significant position in the underworld. El Mayo benefited from exceptional luck. American authorities considered him a minor player and never pursued charges against him during this period. This negligence probably stems from their mistaken belief that he resided in Mexico, when in reality, he operated in Los Angeles for the next 5 consecutive years, taking over and developing the network established by his brother-in-law. For the cartels, Los Angeles was then a nerve center almost as important as Sinaloa. It was the logistical hub from which distribution to major American cities departed, the true source of the drug trade's astronomical profits. As a methodical strategist, El Mayo systematically repatriated his earnings to his native state. In Sinaloa, he invested heavily in real estate, livestock, and agriculture.
See how it is? Real estate? That's one thing. Like I said, one person pretends to be rich, yet has nothing. Another pretends to be poor, yet has great wealth. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, man, that's one thing I can say about these cartel leaders, man. Yeah, they ruthless. Yeah, they violent. Yeah, they some murderers, man. But one thing about them, they smart, man. You know what I'm saying? They very, very smart. And this Sinaloa cartel bringing in billions of dollars every year. You know what I'm saying? But one thing about the wealthy, brother, you ain't gonna never see them like, just like I said, pay attention to the wealthy people, bro. Really pay attention to them, bro. Like, you don't see them with no chains on. Bro, I'm telling you, wealthy people do not look rich, bro. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, bro. I truly believe this, bro. When it says in that scripture, one person pretends to be rich, yet has nothing, it's not saying that you don't have nothing. It's saying that you don't have what you portray to have. You know what I'm saying? So the whole time you spending money, you got, okay, a lot of these folks, bro, a lot of these rappers y'all look up to, and a lot of these folks y'all think millionaires, bro, they not really millionaires, bro. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these folks is high thousandaires. A lot of these folks, bro, is what you think a lot of these rappers, you think they got $100 million in the bank, man? Please stop. You know how much $100 million, you know how much you gotta do to make $100 million, bro? These folks ain't got $50 million. You know what I'm saying? 40 million. You know why? Because guess what? This is the trap of trying to look rich, but you're not really rich. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? Okay, you probably did have $50 million in the bank. You know what I mean? But guess what you did? Your little stupid stuff went to go buy $1 million car, $1 million mansion, $1 million chains, all these $1 million things. You spending money on some, you really ain't, it's like, yeah, you got the 50 million, but bro, now you spending money on all these cars. Not only getting $1 million car, you getting multiple $1 million cars. You're not only getting $1 million house, you're getting multiple $1 million house. Man, that 50 million be gone in a blink of an eye. That's the problem with these folks. They trying to look rich other than being rich. You know what I'm saying? It's a temptation. The hardest thing to do is keep money. Making money, like I ain't gonna say it's the easy part, but it's easier than keeping money. See that $50 million, you want to splurge on it all. You know what I mean? Instead of putting something towards generational wealth, you putting stuff towards some freaking, temporary things, cars. Like, come on, bro. You got insurance, you got car notes, you got to pay bills. Come on, bro. Ain't none of this junk free. So yeah, you got it, but you got to keep it. That's all I'm saying, bro. A lot of y'all watching. You know what I'm saying? You be trying to look like you got money. Come on, bro. How much money you got? 1,000, bro. Yet you trying to buy something that's $500, bro, because you want to look rich. Come on, bro. You know what I mean? Got 1,000, $10,000. 10,000 can be gone in a blink of an eye. I know people that blew 20,000, bro. Multiple people that blew 20,000 in a blink of an eye. You know why? Because you're trying to get more. You trying to buy what you can't afford, bro. Get 20,000, yet you go buy a car with like 15,000. Now you got to pay a car note. Now you got to pay insurance. You know what I'm saying? Now you're down. Come on, bro. Stop trying to look rich and be rich. You know what I'm saying? Everything that you want, you ain't got to buy, bro. Get the things that you need. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? Man, like I said, bro, I just got this crazy wisdom, bro. I save. You know what I'm saying? I'm a saver. I'm gonna just keep it real with you. You know what I mean? I've been through my little phase and all that, bro. I'm just understanding, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's about wealth. It ain't about being wealthy, not trying to look.
Empire with perfectly legal
I'm not getting multiple cars, bro. I don't care how much money I got. I'm not getting multiple cars. I'm only drive 2 cars, so guess what? I'm getting 2 cars. When it comes to my house, I don't need multiple rooms because guess what? It's not going to be multiple people in my house. You know what I'm saying? I'm just getting the things I need, not want, bro. I need cars, so I'll get 2. I'm going to drive 2. I don't be understanding why most of these motherfuckers be buying 18 cars. You're not buying none of them. What you got 18 cars for, bro? Just spending on what you don't even like. Just spending, bro. Stupid, bro. Like what it came to, what's the name? I'm not trying to talk bad on the Cardi B. You know what I'm saying? I heard Shawty say, this when I was on social media, I heard Shawty say, I don't know, bro. It was double-digit number of cars, bro. Shawty said she had double-digit number of cars, don't even know how to drive. Shawty got all them cars, pay for all them cars for what? So you can look rich, so you can look like what's the reason of you buying all them cars? You don't even know how to drive. You ain't drive none of them. But they want to look it so bad.
Testify to his
you ain't even
lifestyle. Without ostentation or eccentricity, he cultivated anonymity and dressed like an authentic ranchero.
Look at him.
Sustaining luxury brand.
Look, this a billionaire right here. This a $1 billion man. Look at him. We ain't know about El Mayo. You think he a $1 billion man? You think he a regular Mexican? Look at him, bro. Wealthy people and rich, and these so-called, they totally different, bro. Look at him.
To his family, he confided that he wasn't building his fortune to live in palaces, but to never experience poverty again. This calculated sobriety explains how he was able to evade authorities for more than half a century, becoming an almost mythical figure in the underworld.
Heck yeah. You better start listening to Warren Buffett.
Navigated between both sides of the border to supervise his distribution network. A visionary strategist, he made the crucial decision to establish himself in Tijuana in 1982, while maintaining residences in several strategic locations. He clearly perceived the market shifts. The white powder era was taking hold, bringing exponential profits, but demanding more sophisticated logistics, and above all, the construction of lasting alliances.
Guadalajara, Chapter 2, Guadalajara.
During this period, Mexico experienced a decisive transformation. At this time, the Guadalajara cartel reached its peak. Although its name evokes its operational base, the majority of its members originated from Sinaloa. The organization built a reputation as a pioneer in collaboration with
that dang cocaine,
transforming
bro.
Mexico into a strategic transit platform to the United States. The Pacific route, connecting Sinaloa to California via Tijuana, became a privileged corridor for transporting Colombian powder, generating immense profits for Mexican kingpins. The Guadalajara cartel functioned as a federation grouping various regional kingpins. Despite occasional tensions, their alliance endured, mainly under the influence of Miguel Felix Gallardo, co-founder and dominant figure nicknamed the Godfather. In this milieu where everyone knew each other, each sought to profit from the flourishing trade. Their mission broke down into 2 essential steps: receiving Colombian merchandise on Mexican soil, then transporting it to the American border, where the Colombians took over distribution and sales. El Mayo, who already possessed a transportation infrastructure for heroin, naturally integrated into this system. While preserving the independence of his group, he collaborated closely with Miguel's organization. It is in this same structure that future heavyweights of the drug trade, such as El Chapo and Hector Palma, begin to gravitate. As is often the case, business flourishes without a hitch, until the Guadalajara group commits the irreparable act of liquidating Kiki Camarena, a DEA agent.
Yeah, that was crazy.
This
I heard
event
about that.
triggers an international scandal.
That broke
and
down
provokes the fury.
That broke down the Guadalajara cartel, however you say your name. Freaking killed the DEA agent. After that, bro, Guadalajara, bro,
of the United States
Uno
launches a vast operation of reprisals.
wipe them out, boy.
Miguel's main associates fall one after another, while the Godfather himself, thanks to his network of political influences, manages to maintain his freedom for a few more years. It is in this context of chaos that El Mayo's name begins to emerge in official reports. According to documents from the 1980s, El Mayo collaborates closely with Miguel.
Under Miguel's orders, El Mayo directs a drug trafficking organization based in Culiacan, with influence along the Pacific coast.
And look, and this one thing that I don't understand too, and I'm gonna just go ahead and just say this: why don't? And I've always just never understood this, bro. It has to be about power more than money. Like nobody's gonna kill you, bro. You're the boss. And when it comes to any other rink-a-dink, whatever you want to call it, you know what I'm saying? Any other regular soldier, you try to get out of the cartel, okay, they probably whack you. You know what I'm saying? Most likely will whack you. But you being a boss, bro. If anything, they want your position. You know what I mean? They ain't gonna whack you. You know what I'm saying? If you want to get out. So I don't understand. You got all this real estate, all this business, all this billions of dollars, yet you still choose to drug traffic. I just don't understand that, bro. I mean, sometimes it's like they smart, but it's just that's the dumbest thing. If you gonna get in that, you know what I'm saying, is it a way out? What, you just gonna die being? You think you finna just be a cartel boss forever? Like when it came to Pablo Escobar, I'm like, bro, like Pablo, bro, you had all this riches, you had all this money. The man had so much money he had to bury it, y'all. Had so much money he had to bury it. This man had so much money, y'all. True story. This man has so much money that he used to build houses. Literally mansions to just store money in. Nobody lived in the houses, nothing. That bro used to build houses just to store money in, yo. You know what I'm saying? Word on the street, his money is still out there in Colombia. Word on the street, bro. His money is still out there buried. Word on the street till this day. You know, so it's just like having that much money and you still just choose to be a kingpin when you could just go the legal route. You know what I'm saying? I just don't understand that, bro. You know, bro was like dang near top 10 richest man in the world. You know how much money that was back then when he was alive? Bro was a billionaire. You know how much money that is? I just don't understand it, man.
Connections with the so-called
Why continue being a kingpin when you have so much money?
Not surprisingly, after the execution of the DEA agent,
I heard about look.
Mexican media begin to take a close interest in the links between Miguel and Mayo Zambada. This media exposure also has repercussions for El Mayo's younger brother, known by the pseudonym El Rey. Unlike his older brother, Rey aspires to a normal life. But in Culiacan, Sinaloa, it's difficult to escape the shadow of a brother already feared in the underworld. Despite this burden, he tries to forge his own path by pursuing accounting studies. Brilliant, he quickly climbs the ladder and lands, barely in his 20s, a management position in a respectable company in Mexico City.
Applaud him.
Everything changes when the DEA agent case brings the name Zambada back into the press. His colleagues, intrigued, question him about a possible family connection, and forced to admit the truth, Rey sees the company's trust erode despite his undeniable accounting skills. The bad publicity associated with his name eventually costs him his position.
Dang.
Faced with this professional impasse, his brother El Mayo extends a hand, proposing that he examine the accounts of his organization. Suspecting certain American associates of embezzling funds, he entrusts him with a meticulous examination of his accounts. Rey puts his accounting talent to good use, developing a clear system to track the money and easily identify those responsible for the thefts. And gradually, his responsibilities extend to complete management of the network's logistics. According to El Rey's later testimonies, his brother's infrastructure transports such large quantities of coke that Miguel solicits him to save his empire. Miguel is threatened following the arrest of his main associates after the DEA agent Kiki Camarena affair. Thanks to his logistics network, El Mayo ensures the passage of shipments to the United States and, above all, takes advantage of it to establish his own direct relationships with the Colombian cartels.
Bro, y'all be surprised how many people, bro, sniff that cocaine, bro. Y'all be surprised, bro. I'm telling y'all, bro. You know what I'm saying? More people do cocaine than weed. That's why I be trying to tell y'all, for y'all freaking drug dealers. You know what I mean? Y'all ain't no drug dealers. You know what I mean? For all that little drug dealers, you out here selling weed. Come on, man. That's little work. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't want you to sell drugs anyways, because if you go down that path, like I said, bro, you either going to be dead or in jail. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. The one thing they love saying, shoot, hey, I must be smart because I ain't get caught yet. Yo, this fool, man. You know what I'm saying? Thinking, oh yeah, thinking he's smart because he ain't get caught yet. Yeah, that's what Pablo, El Chapo, El Mayo, El Mencho thought the same thing. Yeah, I'm too smart. All right? Like I said, it only take you getting caught one time. They can mess up numerous of times. When it came to Pablo, they messed up numerous of times. It only took them getting caught one time. All you gotta do is get caught one time, and it's over with. So all that escaping and all that thing that Pablo, all that escaping and all that stirring off the lot that Pablo was doing, that ain't mean nothing, because all it took was just one time. So for all you little drug dealers, you want to be a drug dealer, you better think twice. You want the fast money. Okay. All money ain't good money, my brother. You better go and hold on to that quote and hold on to that statement. All money ain't good money. You know what I'm saying? Fast money, you better go take your butt in that warehouse, man. I don't want you to do a warehouse, like I said, man. Use a job as they use you. You know what I mean? Put money for legal businesses, bro. But I ain't got time for none of that illegal junk, bro. You got to look over your shoulder and all that junk. Weed is just a freaking stepping stone. You're not finna survive off weed, bro. So if you want to be a drug dealer, go all the way being a drug dealer then. This is what you're going to have to partake in right here, as you see on my screen right here. This is what you're going to have to do. You want to be a big meat? You want millions of dollars? You're not finna make millions of dollars selling weed. Back in the day, you could have. Way back in the day. When weed was getting popping, where weed was all that, that, with cocaine wasn't hitting and all that, heroin and all that way. Nah, weed was, you could have got hella money back then with weed, but now, bro, you're not finna be no millionaire off weed, bro. Because everybody doing it. Everybody can't do this right. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't do this. Look at all this cocaine. You can't get you can't get part of this. You can't even do this. You can't even distribute this much. You can't even get your hands on this much cocaine. So you want to be a drug dealer, go all the way being a drug dealer then. You're going to get caught, bro. You're going to get caught eventually. This man right here, El Mayo, just got caught, I think last year. One of the smartest drug lords in the world. This man wasn't even on the radar. This man wasn't even on the radar. Got caught.
Time with the declining Guadalajara structure.
F that money, bro. You keep that money, bro. You keep the money, bro. What is a man for to gain the whole world if you lose his soul? I'm cool, bro. I ain't trying to be looking over my back every day. These motherfuckers make all these billions of dollars and can't even enjoy it. Like for this man right here, El Chapo, making all this dang money, you can't even enjoy the money you made. I want to enjoy the money I made, whether it's thousands, whatever it is. I'm cool. I'm cool doing a legal route. I ain't trying to look over my shoulders and gotta do all this just because I want to be a criminal, just because I want to be, just because I want to go against the grain. I'm cool. It feel good making my own money. I ain't gotta look over my shoulder. I ain't gotta do nothing. I'm just making my own money, just chilling. It feel good just doing that. But everybody want to be a gangster. Everybody want to be a criminal.
Their control of Tijuana, now considered a key strategic position for all cross-border smuggling.
We'll see how I turn out for you. And he did the same thing you tried to do. All have failed. Not one successful drug lord I know about.
$230 million in annual profits. That's what the Arellano Felix brothers reportedly earned through their taxation system imposed on all traffickers crossing through Tijuana into the United States. Operating like a genuine parallel customs agency, they controlled one of the most lucrative corridors along the U.S.-Mexican border.
That's insane, bro.
However, before this meteoric rise, they were merely modest operators in the hierarchy. Let's take a step back. In this large family, Benjamin occupied the leadership role, assisted by his brother Ramon, who was more violent and unpredictable. Unlike other major figures from Sinaloa, the Arellano Felix family didn't grow up in poverty. Their first steps into crime focused on smuggling electronic devices and clothing, still marginal activities until they settled in Guadalajara. It was there that Benjamin crossed paths with Javier Caro Payan, nicknamed El Doctor, cousin of Rafael Caro Quintero, one of the co-founders of the Guadalajara cartel. In this milieu, the integration of close contacts and family members was common practice. It turns out that El Doctor was then responsible for operations in Tijuana for the cartel. Indeed, as previously explained, the Guadalajara organization was composed of different regional leaders who all operated in strategic zones to supervise logistics. It's important to understand that numerous bosses coexisted in a single region, sometimes collaborating, sometimes confronting each other. Not all were part of the Guadalajara organization, but violence wasn't as widespread at that time as it is today. In any case, the meeting between Benjamin and El Doctor bore fruit, and Benjamin was absorbed into the structure as a secretary and then lieutenant overseeing daily operations. He settled in Tijuana, where his brother Ramon, the most violent of all, also joined him along with the rest of the family. Let's examine in detail the financial beginnings of the Arellano brothers in the 1980s. In 1984, Everardo Arturo Paez, nicknamed El Kitty, operated as a mid-level weed dealer in the United States. He coordinated 4 to 5 deliveries each week of about 100 kilograms each, moving the merchandise from San Diego to Los Angeles, a true hub of American distribution. His efficiency draws attention, and he's summoned to Tijuana to meet with his superiors. In this compartmentalized milieu where anonymity was paramount, operatives generally remained unaware of the identity of their true commanders. In early 1985 in Tijuana, El Kitty met 2 young men with a distinguished appearance, Benjamin and Ramon Arellano Felix, still simple lieutenants of El Doctor at that time. Having gained their trust, he was entrusted with the responsibility of repatriating approximately $2 million in monthly profits from weed sales from the United States to the Tijuana headquarters, a notable performance for these criminals who were still far from being considered real kingpins. During this period, the Tijuana organization succeeded in corrupting an American customs agent who facilitated the clandestine passage of shipments across the border. Following intelligence reports, authorities began to monitor this corrupt official. The Tijuana gang then implemented an ingenious system. A lookout posted on a hill with binoculars signaled to the drivers transporting products which checkpoint was manned by their accomplice, allowing them to head toward the secure passage. The inspector turned a blind eye to approximately 70 shipments, pocketing over $1 million in bribes along the way. American investigators would later identify him as an essential link in a much bigger operation that enabled the transport of more than 100 tons of weed under the direction of El Doctor. In 1987, the operation collapsed. The inspector was sentenced to 17 years in prison, and a large part of the network, which extended as far as Canada, was dismantled, including the arrest of El Doctor himself. Following this power vacuum, the Arellano Felix brothers naturally take control of operations, drawing on the expertise accumulated over their years in the business. Although they gain autonomy, they continue to operate under the umbrella of the Guadalajara cartel, maintaining a privileged relationship with Miguel. As for El Kitty, he establishes himself as a trusted lieutenant alongside the brothers, developing a particularly strong friendship with Ramon. It's important to understand that a large city like Tijuana was not an exclusive territory. The colossal profits generated by its strategic position toward the United States inevitably attracted multiple crime bosses. Among these local figures, 2 men already dominated behind the scenes: Jesus Labra Aviles, nicknamed El Chuy, and Manuel Aguirre Galindo. These veterans, true financial masterminds, had a solid network in economic and political circles. According to the Office of the Attorney General of the Republic, El Chuy, presented as the uncle of the Arellano brothers, not only facilitated their expansion, but also ensured their integration by welcoming them upon their arrival in Tijuana a few years earlier. These strategists preferred to remain in the shadows, leaving the Arellano brothers to manage daily operations and especially control of the border corridors. The strategic alliance developed into a lasting and lucrative partnership.
And look, and one thing you start understanding is like, dang, all this is literally over money. Like all the killing, you know what I'm saying? All the risk taking, everything, all this is over money. That's simple. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy, bro. Money? All this is worth money? Paper? I just don't get it, bro. You know what I'm saying? I just don't get it, bro. I don't know. I'm a man of integrity, bro. I'm not doing everything for money, bro. I'm just keeping real with you. I'm cool with a couple of thousand, bro. You know, I go on by my day, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool, bro. It's all over money, bro. You know what I mean? It's like, it's never that serious, bro. I just never understand about now, you know, I'm pretty sure they're not operating today. You know what I'm saying? So look, all that money that you're trying to get, everything that you're doing, all this murder and all that. So it's like when you die, if you die tomorrow, if you was to get killed tomorrow, all that meant nothing. You feel me? That's how like money is important, bro, but it's like it really isn't. It's important, but it isn't. That's why that's one thing that I've learned, bro, when it came to this life. Is like I'm not finna stress out over money. Like I said, my mood, bro, used to depend on money. You know how pathetic that is? Why am I stressing out over money when if I die today, everything that I worked for is literally gone? I want everybody to think like that. If you die today, all that money you stressing over, all these things that you want, if you die today, it means nothing. So I'm saying, like if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. You know what I'm saying? I'll be understanding that, man. You working so hard. And then guess what? All that working hard that you done, you die tomorrow means nothing. Now you worked for nothing. That's how temporary this life is. That's how temporary money is, bro. I'm not finna stress over money when dang near freaking tomorrow it ain't gonna mean nothing. You gotta just learn how to just live, bro. The money gonna come if you work hard. Money gonna come if you work hard, bro. I'm telling you right now. It's written. If you work hard, it's gonna come. Hard work will bring profit, but mere talk leads to poverty. That is written. You want me to say it again? Hard work will bring profit, but mere talk only leads to poverty. So God promised you if you work hard, you're going to get the money. You know what I'm saying? It's just how you act when you get the money, man.
Evolving into the creation of a true council of chiefs.
Promise, if you work hard, you're going to get the money.
This decision-making structure, composed of various
It's
influential members, met to rule on crucial matters. The opening of new routes, the diversification of
money just ain't that important to me anymore.
The elimination of rivals.
If you're around somebody that love money too much, you need to watch that person. I'm going to just keep it real with you. I can't really be around somebody that'll do anything for money. Like, dang, bro, all you talk about is money. That man will snake you out for a little bit of money. I'm telling you right now. Half of y'all friends that you hanging out with, let the right number come across their door. They'll kill you in a blink of an eye. Just saying, bro. The people that's money is everything to some people, bro. I don't want you around me, bro. Because you telling me you do anything for money. Money is some people's lives, bro. Money, bro, I'm telling you, bro. Money, that's all people care about. That's all people think about when they go to sleep. That's when they think about when they wake up. Money is literally their God, bro. They don't understand that you can idolize money. People don't understand this. People be thinking it's an idol that sit in front of you and you just bow down to the idol. Bro, you can idolize anything. When God talks about idolatry, he talks about everything. You can idolize yourself. You can idolize money. You can idolize cars. You can idolize sex. You can idolize anything, houses. So I want y'all to think about today. What is on your mind more? Is money on your mind more than God? Then guess what? That's the answer. Money's your God. How many times do you think about money more than God? You feel me? Are you chasing God more? Are you chasing money more than you chasing God, bro? That goes to show you that money is your God. When you don't have no money, how you feel, bro? When you don't have no money, how you feel? How is your mood? Is you depressed? You depressed off of a piece of paper? You irritated? You frustrated because you don't have money? That is your God. Whether you like it or not, a lot of y'all money is God. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, bro. Just keeping it real with you. Like I said, for me, I ain't got no problem to admit it. Back then, my God was money. I ain't give a damn about God. My God was money. Money, bro, it was pathetic. Money, literally, bro, when I ain't had no money, bro, I was depressed, bro. You know what I'm saying? I was sad, so I know how you feel. I didn't want to hear nothing. Money was my world, bro. But I'm telling you, once you start getting closer with God, that junk goes away. God shows you the true success, which is spiritual success, not temporary success. A lot of y'all so focused on temporary success where you're not even noticing the true success is eternal and spiritual success. That's why in the word it says, what is a man to gain the whole world if he lose his dang soul? All this money, all these things don't define who you are as a person. You just have a lot of money and a lot of things, but the whole time you still not happy in the inside. Whole time you still not at peace. Whole time you still not at joy. Money can't buy integrity. Money can't buy realness. Money can't buy happiness. Money can't buy peace. Money can't buy joy. The most important thing is you, bro. Don't lose yourself over money, bro. Because you can't buy the things that's within. That has to come that has to come. Can't buy those things. You can buy all these stuff in the world and still be unhappy. That's why you see most of the people that say money don't buy happiness is who? Famous people. The first people y'all see when they say money can't buy happiness is famous people. Money can't buy happiness. Famous motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Why I know a lot of y'all be thinking, dang, why you kill yourself? You know what I mean? You got all this money and all this fame. Because it don't buy happiness.
Too dangerous.
Money ain't everything, but I'm trying to tell y'all,
It
but
is important to recall that during this same period, El Mayo
better start building some integrity, bro. Money ain't make me do everything.
Regions, makes the
Tell you
strategic
that right now.
decision to move his family into the heart of Tijuana. This border city becomes the stage for a significant alliance with Benjamin, developing a professional collaboration so close that their respective families maintain privileged personal ties. Vicentillo, El Mayo's son, testifies to this in his writings.
At the time, most of them were associates and comrades of my father. I saw them very often when I lived there in the 80s. Javier Arellano Felix, Francisco Arellano Felix, Ramon Arellano Felix, Eduardo Arellano Felix. These were the ones I had the most contact with.
El Mayo's organization operates with formidable efficiency. His network has a sophisticated infrastructure to receive and transport shipments from Sinaloa along the Pacific coast to Tijuana.
all this over money,
In the
y'all.
strategic border city, the Arellano brothers
Crazy.
excel in the art of smuggling, a skill that distinguishes them from all other operators. The system operates with precision. Mayo's men deliver coke to warehouses in Tijuana. Then the Arellano operators take over for packaging and shipping to Los Angeles, where El Mayo's representatives retrieve the merchandise. This service costs Mayo between $1,000 and $1,200 per kilogram, an astronomical sum when you consider that tons of product regularly cross the border through this circuit. Over time, the Arellano brothers consolidate their position and gain influence. This rise allows them to develop their own network for importing and distributing white powder, aiming for increased autonomy. At the same time, they continue to offer their services to other members of the Guadalajara organization for cross-border transit, taking a substantial commission thanks to their privileged geographical position. It is essential to understand that all operators of the Guadalajara organization, notably the Arellano brothers, Hector Palma, and El Chapo, collaborate strategically to move their products to the United States. Above them are several influential associates, including Amado Carrillo Fuentes, who coordinate some of these operators while allowing them relative autonomy with their own networks and territories. The privileged relationship between Amado and El Mayo deserves to be highlighted, characterized by a solid friendship and constant mutual support. Regarding the dynamics between these figures, El Chapo has maintained tense relations with the Tijuana brothers since the beginning of his career. These antagonisms, initially minor, take a decisive turn in the late 80s, between 1988 and 1989 according to sources, marking the beginning of a major conflict. Armando Lopez, nicknamed El Rayo from Sinaloa, also operates for the Guadalajara Group. A longtime associate of El Mayo, he maintains above all a brotherly relationship with El Chapo. Together, they mainly manage the reception of shipments arriving from Colombia by air. The critical incident occurs during a party in Tijuana. Testimonies differ on the occasion. Some mention El Mayo's birthday, others the baptism of Benjamin's daughter. El Rayo, drunk, provokes an altercation after being denied entry. The situation is complicated by pre-existing tensions. El Rayo apparently has feelings for Enedina, the Arellanos' sister, and his repeated advances exasperate the brothers, who intend her for a man of higher social status. At the party, alerted by the dispute, Ramon, the most violent of the brothers, comes out and, recognizing El Rayo, executes him with a bullet to the head without warning. The body is abandoned on an isolated road, and according to some sources, Ramon's men also eliminate members of El Rayo's family to prevent any vendetta. Although El Rayo was an old associate, that night, El Mayo does not break with the Arellanos. However, the incident opens a conflictual front with El Chapo, requiring numerous meetings to try to ease tensions.
In 1988, Ramon Arellano Felix executed a close friend of my compadre Chapo during my father's birthday party. His name was Armando Lopez, nicknamed El Rayo Lopez. After the liquidation, several meetings took place in Mexico City. I wasn't present, but my father and Amado Carrillo Fuentes were there. They went to Mexico City for the meeting. My father, Amado Carrillo Fuentes, my compadre Chapo, Hector Salazar Palma, nicknamed El Güero Palma, and the Arellanos to discuss what happened. At that time, they had sought to make peace. Everything was good between the Arellanos and my compadre Chapo, who lived in Guadalajara a few months a year during that period. They said that everything was in order with Ramon Arellano.
Despite this apparent truce, the peace remains fragile and short-lived. El Chapo, deeply marked by this affront, silently nurtures his resentment, patiently waiting for the ideal moment to exact his revenge.
Chapter 4, Plaza Division.
1989 marks a decisive turning point in the underworld. Miguel, the all-powerful godfather, is finally arrested in his Guadalajara villa despite his vast network of political influence. This capture signals the inevitable beginning of the disintegration of the Guadalajara cartel. Shortly after, Amado, an exceptionally competent lieutenant and favored to succeed as head of the organization, falls in turn. The authorities dismantle his airline company, seize 6 planes, 2 properties, and a significant arsenal. The investigation officially confirms his links with Colombian cartels and air transport. Incarcerated at Reclusorio Sur, he shares his cell with Miguel and Juan Jose Esparragoza Moreno, nicknamed El Azul. The latter is considered a mediator in the Mexican underworld, recognized for his negotiation skills and ability to maintain good relationships with everyone. Thanks to his intelligence, he obtains what he wants without taking too many risks. Against all expectations, Amado's prison stay proves surprisingly brief. To general amazement, he's released after only a few months of incarceration due to insufficient evidence. Without a clear hierarchy, and with each member of the Guadalajara organization gaining power independently, the system and rules that governed drug trade during the previous decade can no longer function. It's necessary to grant more autonomy to each person to maintain order and preserve peace. This is the fundamental idea that, in reality, could never have been viable in the long term. It's in this context that a historic meeting is held in Acapulco, a highly popular beach resort at the time. During this meeting, the former territories of the Guadalajara cartel are divided. Each lieutenant receives exclusive control of a specific area called a plaza. This new system imposes a clear rule. Anyone wishing to move their merchandise through another's plaza must pay a tax to the controller of that territory. Following the distribution of territory, several strategic areas are assigned to the main characters of our story. Tijuana goes to Jesus, known as El Chuy. who, preferring to remain in the shadows, entrusts operational management to the Arellano brothers. Tecate, a border position adjacent to Tijuana, goes to El Chapo. San Luis Rio Colorado is placed under the authority of Hector Palma. Juarez, a corridor of comparable importance to Tijuana, passes under the control of Rafael Aguilar Guajardo, in close collaboration with Amado. Finally, Sinaloa, the historic cradle of many narcos, is attributed to El Mayo, associated with Baltasar Diaz, known under the alias Don Balta. For years, El Mayo had maintained a close collaboration with Baltasar Diaz, known as Don Balta, overseeing their joint operations. At this time, Don Balta was already considered one of the most influential barons in the country, having accumulated a colossal fortune estimated at $500 million.
Crazy, y'all.
Mexican authorities attributed to him not only the role of principal financier.
We all know why it's really illegal. I mean, selling drugs and, getting people high and all that, that's very something I just don't agree with at all. But it's really illegal. You know why? Because they don't pay taxes. That's really why it's illegal. Know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, bro, the government does way worse. You know what I'm saying? Then, it's a lot of stuff that, that these governments, these politicians be in, bro. You know what I mean? Be some dirty bastards. You know what I'm saying? I don't trust the government. I don't trust these politicians. Be dirty as they come. Sole reason is because they ain't getting a piece of the pie. That's one of the reasons. They ain't getting a piece of the pie. That's the 90% reason. They ain't getting a piece of the pie. You know what I'm saying? You making $500 million and I ain't getting nothing? You know what I'm saying? Nothing? Getting close to $1 billion and I ain't getting none of that, part of that? You know what I'm saying? Oh, I need some of that. You feel me? Just keeping it real with you. But all these mother effers be dirty, y'all. Like, I don't want y'all, man. All these mother effers be dirty. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, bro. It's a few good righteous and good people in the politician realm and the government realm, but man, there's a lot of dirty bastards up in that government. That's all I gotta tell you. Know what I mean? I don't trust none of them. Built like a sack of laundry. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, selling drugs, like I said, getting people high is definitely something I just don't agree with and never would agree with. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro.
But also that of strategic advisor within
Even when it comes to you selling weed, I just don't agree with it. You just getting people high and getting people addicted. Because put it like this, bro. If it comes to like a person, like for me, I was good with just a weed high. When I was smoking weed, I was good. I never had that addictive behavior. Never just had that. I never got addicted to things like people do. Never had an addictive behavior. But what if you come across a customer that has that addictive behavior and weed is just a stepping stone? I can promise you these crackheads and these people that's on drugs, strung out, they started from weed, bro. I'm telling y'all. They started from something that was small. They started from something that got that high. And guess what? Weed ain't get that high that weed used to give them. It's not giving them that high no more. You know what I mean? So next step, boom. You know what I'm saying? Next step is the heroin. You know what I mean? Then after that, heroin ain't getting right. Okay, now I got cocaine. Then after that, it only gonna get worse and worse. You feel me? You got a lot of your customers, but they got addictive freaking spirits. You know what I mean? Keep smoking. I know a lot of y'all that be smoking that weed. Weed don't even get you high no more. Bro gotta smoke like 3 blunts just to get high again. You know what I'm saying? You can't even smoke a blunt. You get a blunt, you get a little buzz. Bro gotta roll another blunt just to get high. You better watch yourself, my brother. You know what I mean? That right there, bro, you don't see yourself, bro. I'll never do that. All right. You know what I'm saying? Weed ain't supposed to be addictive. That's all I'm gonna say. You feel me? Weed ain't supposed to be addictive. Just saying, it's not supposed to be addictive. You feel me? My mama used to tell me back in the day, bro, weed wasn't addictive. That was just something they did in the spare time. That was just something they just did, here and there. You know what I mean? Them chemicals, like I said, y'all got on weed, bro. Y'all just don't even know, man. Weed was a plant until they started putting them chemicals on it. That's what made it not a plant no more. That's what made it a substance. That's what made it a drug. Like I said, y'all, weed is green. And I'm going to keep saying it to all the weed smokers. Weed is green, bro. Look at your weed right now. It ain't purple. Weed ain't purple, bro. Weed is green. If you say weed is purple, bro, you a dang lie. What grows from the ground? I'm just saying, like grass is green, all this other junk. Man, weed is green. Y'all call it OG now. Weed is green. Weed ain't purple. You ain't got no different strands of weed. Weed is weed, bro. Try to complicate this junk. Like I said, lizard nuts, cat booty, all these different strand of names. Weed is weed. And you're just strung out, bro. Them little chemicals they putting on your weed got you addicted. And the first thing that a weed smoker gonna say, bro, let us just smoke, bro. I can stop if I want to. So stop. I just don't want to. You can't, bro. That's you lying to yourself, though. Go keep lying to yourself over and over. I can stop if I want to, bro. I stopped a couple months back, but you had to stop. You had a job you had to get. The only way you gonna stop if you have to. If you don't have to stop, you ain't stopping, because you know why? You can't, bro. Stop lying to yourself, bro. Talking about you can stop smoking, you can't.
Following Miguel's incarceration, he had lost a large part of his financial capabilities, a void that Don Balta managed to fill by financing the significant shipments that continued to flow from Colombia.
I'm telling you, bro.
The alliance between El Mayo and Don Balta manifested in a particularly significant way during the marriage of
the first person they're going to try to bring up is Wiz Khalifa and Snoop Dogg. The first person is Wiz Khalifa and Snoop Dogg.
El Mayo's
Wiz did it, so I can do it. Snoop Dogg did it, so I can do it. He ain't around Wiz or Snoop Dogg, bro. You know what I'm saying? Bro became a rapper. You feel me? He's a good rapper. You feel me? Shoot, how hard is it to freaking, you know what I mean, go in there and smoke blunts and rap on the studio? You know what I'm saying? I used to do that all the time. Y'all used to hear me? I used to spit bars all the time. Matter of fact, bro, I used to get more clever when I smoked weed. I wasn't clever, you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying when it came to like writing, when it came to smoke weed, man, I go in that studio and spit some bars. It ain't hard. You know what I'm saying? All they is a rapper smoking weed. You know what I'm saying? Ask Bill Gates, he smoking weed. You know what I mean? That's all them wealthy people, they smoking weed. You feel me? And all these folks, man, they gonna, and then nothing they gonna bring up, man. KD smoke weed, KD doing it.
To Javier, Don Balta's son. This family union sealed their professional.
Ain't even got their own mind.
El Mayo is even said to have asked Benjamin Arellano Felix to be the godfather.
Snoop Dogg doing it. Wiz doing it.
Importance of their relationships.
KD doing it.
Unfortunately for Don Balta, his influence was cut short in 1991 when he was arrested by the authorities. He would spend several years in detention, but his criminal legacy endured through his son Javier, who continued to work closely with El Mayo despite his father's incarceration. Even after the division of territories, Mayo strategically maintained his residence in Tijuana while strengthening his ties with the Arellano brothers. The latter, who had become the undisputed masters of this border plaza, were essential allies for his operations. Initially, El Mayo relied entirely on the Arellanos' logistics to transport his merchandise to the United States, paying a commission in return. Over time, he built his own transportation infrastructure in the Tijuana corridor, reducing his dependence while maintaining occasional collaborations with the brothers. His considerable investments in this region clearly demonstrated the strategic importance he placed on this border crossing point. Tijuana truly became his base of operations. Not content with settling his legitimate wife and children there, including Vicentillo, he also brought his mistress Leticia. From this relationship, a son named Serafin was born in May 1990 in San Diego. To strengthen his ties with the Arellanos, El Mayo did not hesitate to ask Benjamin to become the godfather of this newborn. This godfather relationship had a purely pragmatic dimension. At this time, each shipment crossing Tijuana was subject to attacks, and El Mayo hoped, through his family alliance, to obtain more advantageous conditions. However, as we will soon see, events did not unfold according to his expectations.
But so you made him the godson. You made him the godfather just so you can cross the border. This is bad right here.
Events did not unfold.
Okay, I'm gonna make you the godfather just so we can be good, you know, so I can cross your territory.
According to his expectations.
Oh my God. Hilarious.
The Tijuana family established itself as a fearsome force in the underworld thanks to a strategy as
always got to be
brilliant
strategic,
as it was terrifying. Where their competitors recruited from the underworld, the Arellano brothers broke with the norm by transforming the social elite into a veritable war machine. In the hills of Tijuana, luxurious villas became the stage for recruitment as subtle as it was effective. At nightfall, the sons of the Mexican bourgeoisie flocked to these residences, where music pulsed and champagne flowed freely. Behind these festive facades lay a web patiently woven by El Chuy, the brothers' shadowy advisor. He was the one who suggested to the brothers that they specifically target these privileged heirs. The strategy was relentless. Immerse these young men in an ocean of white powder and forbidden pleasures, creating a dependency that transformed them into devoted servants of the organization. These privileged young people, called narco juniors, start out as ideal mules. Who would suspect these elegant students driving luxury cars of transporting several kilos of white powder between Tijuana and San Diego? The Arellanos quickly discovered that their strategy exceeded expectations. Behind the polished appearance of these children from good families was an insatiable thirst for thrills. These rich kids weren't afraid of anything. They had grown up with everything money could buy. The only thing they had never experienced was the adrenaline of holding a life in their hands. They saw Ramon as a mythical figure to imitate. His explosive character, unpredictability, and limitless violence embodied for them the ideal of the all-powerful narco. For these young people, crime wasn't a question of economic survival, but an extreme form of entertainment, leading them to increasingly aberrant behaviors, from spectacular overdoses to gratuitous executions to kill boredom. They exploited Tijuana's unique geography to create an almost perfect system of impunity. The scenario was surgical in its precision. After an execution in Mexican territory, the young killers headed to the border crossing in their luxury cars. American passports in hand, confident smiles on their lips, they crossed into San Diego. In a matter of minutes, they were beyond the reach of Mexican justice, and their reputation attracted more and more recruits thirsty for easy money and thrills.
Doing this for easy money and thrills. Easy money and thrills. Oh my God. No type of integrity at all.
Remember El Kitty? Unlike traditional narcos, you wouldn't see alligator skin boots or solid gold chains on him. With his well-pressed shirt, El Kitty looked more like an accountant than a warlord. You could have passed him in an upscale restaurant without ever suspecting that this man had ordered numerous executions. Thanks to his excellent work in transport and distribution, El Kitty developed a strong friendship with Ramon, to the point of becoming an essential lieutenant among the narco juniors. This cell wasn't just a simple execution force, it also sat on the Council of Chiefs of the Tijuana group. It functioned as the organization's true armed wing, receiving its instructions directly to carry out missions. Within this Council of Chiefs, they discussed what was happening and especially noted those who weren't paying their tax correctly. The brothers knew that El Mayo was using routes to move his merchandise through the Tijuana corridor without paying what was required. They kept precise accounts and saw the debt accumulating, but still preferred to be patient to preserve their long-standing relationship. Ramon wanted to eliminate El Mayo without further delay, but Benjamin opposed it, arguing that such action could cause a definitive break with their other Sinaloa allies. According to a later statement by Benjamin, he considered Mayo a harmless little kitten. However, he couldn't say the same about another man who was stomping on him like a real headache: El Chapo.
Turning point. He's some super thugs. Oh yeah, they're the super of the
After
super
the meeting in
thugs.
Acapulco to distribute territories and operate in peace, some were not really satisfied with their allocation, which they considered unfair. El Chapo had been assigned Tecate, which compared to Tijuana looked more like a village. The men of Tijuana had inherited a veritable gold mine with a considerable competitive advantage thanks to established routes to Los Angeles, while Tecate mainly overlooked a desert. Moreover, according to the new rules, El Chapo could no longer use the Tijuana corridor without paying a tax, even though he had already set up his own logistics structures there for some time. His group was also in the process of building a new tunnel under this border, with plans and construction already well underway.
Bro built a tunnel.
Let's not forget that El Chapo harbored a deep hatred toward the Arellano brothers since their liquidation of his friend El Rayo at a party in Tijuana. El Chapo also held Miguel responsible for granting impunity to the Arellano brothers after this elimination. The latter were clearly Miguel's favorites and enjoyed considerable privileges in the restructuring of the group. As long as Miguel directed the Guadalajara organization, a certain order prevailed and conflicts were quickly appeased. But with the boss imprisoned, no one could control El Chapo anymore. Moreover, he was not acting alone. He collaborated closely with his partner Hector Palma, who had also been assigned a plaza located further east. In other words, the duo is already in competition with the Tijuana group for control of drug trade to the United States on this northwest coast. The rise to notoriety of former low-level operators like El Chapo and Hector cannot be ignored. The Arellano brothers managed to infiltrate a Venezuelan, Rafael Clavo Moreno, to strike at their rivals. The plan is as simple as it is perverse. First, Rafael approaches Hector's sister to gain her trust, and especially that of the organization. Then he executes the other part of the plan, which requires more time. He seduces Guadalupe, Hector's wife, makes her fall in love, and manipulates her until convincing her to flee with him to the United States, taking with her the 2 young children she had with Hector, aged 4 and 5 respectively.
That's crazy.
Like a secret loving couple, they then go to San Francisco, where the woman withdraws several $1 million from a bank account belonging to her husband.
What?
But what should be a new life turns into a nightmare. A few weeks after their disappearance, Hector receives an icy package, a box containing his wife's decapitated head.
Hey.
The horror is just beginning. A few days later, a second package arrives. A video showing his 2 children thrown from a bridge in Venezuela, filmed during their fatal fall.
That's crazy.
Rafael filmed this unspeakable act, breaking not only the cartel's code of honor that protected families, but also the last fragment of Hector's humanity, who would never be the same again. Rafael is arrested shortly afterwards in Venezuela, where he will meet a brutal liquidation in prison. Eye for an eye, all his children will also be liquidated. In memory of his family, Hector will build a mausoleum in the cemetery of Culiacan, the cost of which will amount to about $500,000. Although the infiltration is generally attributed to the Arellano brothers, the order would have allegedly been given
And you
by
see how she died because of who she was associated with? And that's another thing right there. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing. You know, you have to watch who you associate yourselves with. I don't care if you've been friends with that boy since kindergarten. If he is bad company, bro, please cut him off because, hey, man, see this? This happened to her just because of who her husband was. She had no deal in the cartel game. She was just a wife. But just because who her husband was, she got decapitated for it. Her children died for who, they can't control who their dad is. Their children his children most likely didn't even know who their father was. But just because, you know, so it's just association, man. Like for her, she most likely knew what her husband did. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, man, you better take off. Take off with your kids, man. Choose a better life. But man, a bad company, man, that is the worst thing you can have. It's bad company. I don't want to hear, oh yeah, I ain't doing nothing, but you hanging around people that is doing things. So you hanging around people that's doing those such things, guess what? The people that they're doing these such things to is going to come knocking at your door. You got people that kill family members just to hurt such and such. This man right here killed this man's family just to hurt him. You got some people that don't have no rules. That's what I'm saying, man. You better be freaking, man. You better be freaking, hey, man. Telling y'all, bro. I say it's best to ride alone. That's just me. It feel good being alone, bro. It feel good, bro. Like I said, I love myself. For me, I feel like I be with 10 people. I can go out to eat by myself. I know for me, I'm not gonna get in no situation if I don't cause other than you know what I'm saying, me. You know what I'm saying? I will not get in a situation, you feel me, unless I cause the situation. I ain't gotta worry about, okay, having this little cartel homie, knowing he out here wilding. I ain't gotta worry about that, you know what I'm saying? Okay, he out here wilding, I gotta watch my back because guess what? I'm getting threats because of what he doing. And this being my close homie, man, I ain't gonna cut him off. I'm gonna ride or die. Shoot, man, I ain't riding, no, I ain't dying. Know what I'm saying? That's one thing I ain't agree with Will Smith on. Bad boy for life, ride or die. Bad boys for life. Shoot. I ain't a ride or die. I'm going to just let that be on the table right now. I ain't no ride or die. For surely not. I ain't riding and I'm not dying. You on your own right there, partner. You know what I'm saying? You ever heard these little foolish dudes saying riding with you right or wrong? Shoot. That'll be right, because if you wrong, I promise you, I ain't riding nor dying.
Godfather Miguel to get revenge on Hector. The latter had begun to conduct independent operations.
I ain't a ride or die friend, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you.
This autonomous ascension was not tolerated. He had to be taught respect for the hierarchy.
Oh my God, ban this man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Ban this man, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. He ban him. I ain't reading all that junk, bro. You know what I'm saying? Ban him, bro. I can just tell by your first little what's the name that you just stupid. I ain't even read that. You see how waste of a time that was? I can just tell by your little first little what's the name. Hey, bro, Sloop is, man, shut up. I tell you was a weed smoker. I got it in your friend. I got it in your, yeah. I talked about you, right? If you see somebody, you know what I'm saying, that writes a whole paragraph like that, I was talking about him. That was only a hit dog holler. Hey, bro, Snoop is just all that. Bro, you don't know Snoop Dogg, bro. Shut your little stupid mouth, bro. You don't know who that man is. Now, I know Snoop for being a rapper. You know what I'm saying? He probably is other business, man. He probably do. Got other business, all that. But I know him from being a rapper. You know what I'm saying? That's what I know him for. You feel me? So I'm not saying that's what he is, but in my eyes, like I said, for me, he's a rapper. Pretty sure you got other businesses and all that. You know what I'm saying? Even Nipsey had to say he had to stop smoking weed. Nipsey stopped smoking weed for 5 months. Because it didn't make him, you know, he couldn't focus. If you being part of a brand, you know how foolish you look, bro, being a part of a brand and being a CEO of something and you smoking weed? Come on, bro. They ain't gonna say it, but come on, bro. Look like a fool, smelling like weed. Going in there with people, going in there with millionaires and billionaires. They going there with other CEOs. You the only one in the room smelling like weed, but you like a fool. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody gonna take you serious. You freak. Nobody ain't gonna say it, but nobody gonna take you serious, bro, if you a weed smoker. I'm gonna just keep it real with you. Go in a room full of people with suits on. You can have a suit on and all that. Smell like weed going in there. People gonna look at you like, bro, what the freak, bro? You know what I'm saying? I know I have an advantage over you, bro, because your attention span. You smoke weed, I got an advantage over you. I definitely got an advantage over you. Your brain foggy, your brain slow. You stupid. You know what I'm saying? Just real, bro. You smoke weed, you stupid. I used to be a stupid bastard too. Stupid, I don't know what. Used to forget everything. What a freak, I put my keys there. Look at him, foggy brain. Bro, we forgetting things. The keys right there, bro. Look to your right. That boy forgot where his keys at, forgot where brain foggy to the mud, boy.
His alleged right-hand man at the time, El Gordo, also confirms this version, testifying that the conflict with the Arellanos would have erupted after the execution of Hector's family, directly ordered by Miguel. Whatever the case, as we will see later,
Hold on, he died?
testifying that the conflict with the Arellanos would have erupted after the execution of Hector's family, directly ordered by Miguel. Whatever the case, as we will see later, whether it's the Tijuana brothers or Miguel himself, they all end up on their blacklist. First, the liquidation of El Chapo's friend, then that of Hector's family.
And they gotta
the
go.
hatred intensified gradually. It is finally in 1991 that the new system of established plazas began to collapse. Once the territories were allocated, no one respected this system, and each began to operate in the zones of others. According to the testimony of El Mayo's brother, it was during this year that El Chapo violated the territorial agreements by passing cargoes through Tijuana without the authorization of the Arellano brothers, thus triggering the conflict. Outside of Tijuana, Mayo's power is essentially limited to his stronghold in Sinaloa. Geography imposes an unavoidable reality. To move his merchandise northward, he must forge strategic alliances with those who control the border crossing points. This constraint, combined with his categorical refusal to pay the passage tax imposed by the Arellanos, naturally draws him closer to Chapo and Hector, who also work with Amado while maintaining their autonomy. As for the Arellano brothers, El Mayo navigates troubled waters. He needs to maintain cordial relations with them, having invested considerably in infrastructure on their territory. Abandoning these investments would have been a total loss, but the pressure keeps building. Unlike the open warfare already pitting the Arellanos against El Chapo, Mayo still attempts to preserve a fragile balance.
Mayo, bro. It ain't no
turning
balance,
point.
Mayo, man. I mean, come on, bro. They killed the man friend, bro, and then they executed his wife. You know what I mean? And 2 children. Come on, bro. You know them folks ain't finna listen to that, bro.
The streets of Tijuana and Culiacan transform into
Gotta choose a
open-air
side when it comes to this right
cemeteries,
here.
and drug seizures multiply, attracting media and police attention that's harmful for business. The situation becomes untenable, making dialogue between rival factions essential. The Arellano brothers, aware of the ties binding El Chapo and El Mayo, make a diplomatic gesture. Benjamin asks Mayo to organize a meeting of the three, hoping to find common ground with El Chapo. The meeting is held in Culiacan in the state of Sinaloa. Only the 3 men participate, their respective guards forming a security perimeter around the residence. Following this meeting, Benjamin announces that communication channels are re-established and the situation is under control. He gives clear instructions to his men: avoid any action likely to rekindle tensions with El Chapo's group. Yet, despite these apparent peaceful resolutions, El Chapo quickly resumes his operations in the Tijuana corridor.
It's a hot hit.
More provocatively, he intensifies his efforts to corrupt local authorities, which led to several seizures of shipments belonging to the Arellano brothers. In the midst of this ever-intensifying conflict, El Mayo found himself in a delicate position, forced to make a strategic choice between the 2 rival factions.
You can't really say who's the worst out of all of them. All of them bad. That's the crazy thing when it comes to cartels, bro. You know what I'm saying? Is that all of them, you know what I'm saying? All of them, you feel me, are bad. Killers, no such thing as being everybody in the cartel is a killer. El Mayo, you can go from El Mayo, Vincitio, whatever. All of them are killers, bro. There's no such thing as the worst being the worst. All of them killers, bro. All of them. All of them will shoot you in a blink of an eye, bro. All of
In
them.
1991, I was studying in the city of Tijuana. I was in my first year of high school, 15 years old. One day, leaving my house, I was going to pick up my girlfriend, who is now my wife. She lived in Los Angeles. When I left my house, about 6 blocks away, a closed truck, blocked my way. Someone got out, tried to open my door, and shouted at me to get out. I locked the door and accelerated, and when I started driving, I heard a gunshot and saw that the window of my car had cracked because the car I was in was bulletproof. 2 weeks earlier, my father had sent me that car and warned me not to go out unless I was in it.
El Mayo sensed that danger loomed, especially since several of his associates had recently been eliminated. His son, Vicentillo, claimed to have recognized Ramon's voice on the shooter's radio during the liquidation attempt. Informed of the incident, El Mayo immediately contacted Ramon for explanations. As expected, the latter categorically denies any involvement. Time passes, and the situation becomes critical for El Mayo. Benjamin demands not only his loyalty, but also claims more than $20 million that he considers due. The Arellano brothers have meticulously accounted for his profits and calculated what Mayo would owe them for passage rights. The Arellanos managed the border as if it were their private property. Mayo knew that by refusing to pay, he risked having a price on his head. In early 1992, he decides to move his 2 families to Culiacan in Sinaloa, where he felt safer. This break with Tijuana led El Mayo to rely more on his other compadre, El Chapo, already accompanied by Hector. El Azul would also become an essential member of the Sinaloa group. A few months later, explosions would occur in front of 2 residences in Culiacan, one belonging to El Chapo and the other to El Mayo. In El Mayo's case, a car bomb explodes right in front of his son Serafin's birthday party. His mother claims that the attack was orchestrated by the Arellano brothers. During a later court hearing, she would testify that the alleged perpetrator was the same man who had been her son's godfather.
From that day on, our lives were never the same. The same men that not long before stood up for our children in church and promised to raise them to be good Catholics were now trying to eliminate them.
This territorial struggle tarnished the reputation of the Arellano brothers in Tijuana. According to the testimony of Lieutenant El Kitty, a second diplomatic meeting was organized to try to ease the growing tensions. As Benjamin prepares to attend, his brother Ramon informs him that he has received alarming information. El Chapo is planning to eliminate Benjamin during this trip. This revelation is decisive. From then on, Ramon develops an obsession with El Chapo, swearing to eliminate him before he destroys them. The Arellano brothers feel so powerful that they not only begin to increase this so-called commission for anyone using their corridor, but also extend their territory to seize more areas along the Pacific. But while the brothers believe themselves untouchable, another vendetta remains to be settled. September 1992. 9 people were kidnapped from different locations, with the complicity of corrupt members of the judicial police. They all had one thing in common: their family ties or friendship with the imprisoned Miguel Felix Gallardo. Among the victims were 4 members of his family, close friends, and even lawyers working for him. A few hours later, the 9 bodies were found on a highway in southern Mexico. Their hands were tied behind their backs, and signs of torture were evident. The operation is attributed to Héctor Palma acting with his friend El Chapo, not only to get revenge, but also to send a clear message to the former boss. His time was over. It's interesting to note that Miguel, who would remain in prison for decades, specified in a letter written in 2009 to a journalist that he had never ordered the elimination of Héctor Palma's family. He also denied any family relationship with the Arellano Felix brothers, contrary to information widely disseminated in the press that portrayed him as their uncle. Whatever the truth, the Sinaloa group is only at its beginning. And if the Arellano Felix brothers believe themselves invincible in their Tijuana fortress, they are still unaware that this war, now inevitable, will eventually consume them too.
They still alive? What? Shoot, I guess they still, man, shoot, man. You know, I know El Chapo in jail, though. You know what I'm saying? Chapo ain't never getting out. But, yeah, man, that is freaking the Tijuana cartel versus the Sinaloa cartel. If y'all want to go watch all my freaking cartel reactions, it is in the playlist section, you know what I'm saying, over yonder. I freaking live stream for 3 hours and 14 minutes. Y'all already know the freaking deal. Lakers reaction will drop tomorrow, but I will drop the Lakers versus the Warriors reaction. He said Lakers next. No, Lakers are not next. Lakers are tomorrow. Say it with me. Lakers are tomorrow.